Hi, I'm Terri Murphy for the Data Advocate, and here we are showcasing women in real estate. And today we have the amazing Marilyn Wilson. She is CEO of the Wave Group. Not only is she a leading woman in real estate, but she is really smart. She's renowned for her work in global technology. So you must have been really good at fractions when you were a kid too, right?
Fractions, not algebra though, and calculus not so much, but
Oh,
I was okay with fractions.
I was lucky to spell calculus. You're aiding their entry, the global technology, aiding companies to entry into the U.S. market, which is why you're so well suited to be speaking and sharing your expertise in Milan in the upcoming MLS International Forum. Second one, first one in Paris. We missed you. Second one right in Milan, Italy. So glad you're going to be there. You have extensive knowledge with broker organizations, including leading RE. And here's my fun part. I did not know this about you. We've known each other, and I don't know that we'll talk about the pajama party that Susie Hale had 100 years ago. The trusted advisor, customer research, strategic planning, technology evaluation. Come on now, selection, MLS valuations, MLS governance, just to name a few. You little overachiever, you. And she has a daughter that is amazing, Miss Sparkles.
Yes, she is.
We have all grown up with Sparkles. So nice to know that she's in college, which makes us feel predominantly older. So I'm so excited you will be with the esteemed global leaders, not that you aren't. This is global, not just here in the United States, in Milan. And MLS is obviously a hot subject right now because it had to morph. I mean, if you've been in real estate as long as we have, which is a long time, it had to morph. So tell us, what do you think that MLS is, just give me your vision of MLS is today as it was before. Let's start there.
Well, I've been doing a lot of research recently because, the logical question to ask in the US with, we have an amazing infrastructure, but as many probably now know, we have to remove the offers of compensation. And historically, an MLS was defined by cooperation and compensation. So now it has cooperation. And I've asked several brokers qualitatively, we actually just did a quantitative study to ask people, do they feel like the MLS will be less valuable without the offers of compensation? And generally people are okay. They believe that the collection of the information, the data that is collected there, the cooperation of so many of the leading real estate practitioners in their markets are still there. There's still an amazing collection of success-centric technologies that are still there, and of course high quality data, which the US has some great advantages when it comes to how we roll up data. So people are still feeling like all of that is still viable. I do think it's put MLS organizations a little bit on notice to make sure that they are not only have a great suite of tools, which most do, but also that they're communicating them effectively and training on them effectively and really helping people understand how to take advantage of them effectively. But I'd say overall, so far, it looks good. Look, we're gonna ride it out. So good news.
Well, here's the thing about MLS. So the multiple listing service, I grew up with it because I started my real estate, over 1 billion years ago. And as we rolled it out, and again, I'm not the technology person ever, but we had to quantify fields. Like a half a bath in one MLS was 0.5, another one it was 1.1. So
Right.
the standardization, especially with the Real Estate Standards Organization, where we have Sam DeBoard, is what we looked at showcased when we did the first annual MLS International Forum, because they don't have in general any kind of standards out there. And then there's topics that go with it. And so, you've been tied to MLS since the amazing beginning. Interesting. I just want to let people know this. Your background was the Senior Vice President of Global Marketing and Strategic Planning at Fisher Price, which gave you a great background to work for real estate. But right now, I mean, the lessons that we're learning, the transition, how is that affecting what you do? Because you're the center. I mean, that's what Lead Group does. It's strategic insights. What have you found? Maybe some of the changes that we'll see in the future besides the elimination of compensation?
Well, again, I think data becomes, as we have heard many times, it's the new gold, right? It's a very, very important asset. And While RISO has made a lot of progress, there's still a lot of progress to go. We work with many brokerage organizations that operate in multiple states, in some cases even multiple countries. And while we've made a ton of progress in having a web API available and things like that, there's still a lot more room to go to make sure that every technology company has fully adopted it. And to the degree that you were mentioning, the half bath versus the full bath, the more data description standardization we get, the easier it is for brokers to be able to fully leverage technologies that pull in MLS data and other types of data. So I think we've made a ton of progress. We are actually proud to say we were a charter member of the RISO organization. Wave Group actually consulted with the organization up until a couple of years ago, until they got so big they needed their full-time staff. So that was, that's always a good thing. But it's a terrific opportunity, and they're doing more and more interesting things to make it easier for technology companies to adapt their legacy systems over to the standard, and then of course for brokerages to be able to take advantage of it. So it's moving in the right direction, but we still have a long way to go. We're not 100% there yet.
Well, I mean, I think you can agree with me that when I started way back, technology, especially the transition to the internet for the global platforms for the data aggregation of listings and status and everything else, it's gone so fast that it's hard to keep up with it. And one of the questions, John Riley is one of our partners, as you know, the author of The Language of Real Estate. He's one of the partners with Saul Klein and the Data Advocate. His question was, should MLSs be tied to their association or uncoupled? And I wondered if you had a thought about that.
I'm sorry, you broke up there a minute. Can you ask the question again?
Should MLSs be tied into their association or be uncoupled?
Oh, that's a loaded question. That could be a 20-minute conversation.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, the Department of Justice in America may be making some decisions for us on behalf of all of us. But I think that the right answer to me is that ownership is fine. But what really matters is the folks that are running the MLS, which is really a technology company, not a trade association, have to be the kinds of people that understand technology, that embrace technology, and that really have the freedom to do what is right in terms of rules and regs and things like that, to do what's right for their individual markets and for the region that they operate in. So I don't think they necessarily need to separate, but I think the governance and the driving of key decisions is better when they're more unique. The other thing we've learned is we have a program we call the Customer Experience Index, and it's a survey, standardized survey we do across MLSs across North America. And we found that when an MLS is branded separately and promotes all its technology separately and promotes, everything that it does separately, it actually receives more customer engagement and better customer satisfaction. So it's better to have it be separate. So people say, okay, I need help with advocacy or professional standards, I go to the association. If I need help with setting up my CRM or my website, or I need to get trained on the great tools that are available through the MLS, they know to go to a separate organization, and that everyone that's answering phone calls, everyone training is dedicated specifically to technology. It really does work better. So I don't think ownership needs to be separated necessarily, but I think governance and operation and key decision-making needs to be separated.
Okay, so that's why you're so brilliant. I mean, that was just a terrific response. Thank you very much. What's interesting, though, is that there is change. And when you're in Milan, so is your partner. You'll be sharing that expertise. And I just want to say, as women advance, and I'm not into a banner for women in business, I just think about people in business. And to close it out, one of the questions John had was, what role can women play in becoming CEOs of brokerages, associations, including non-real estate, being named to board of directors or board of advisory groups? Are you seeing, because you have such a global perspective, are you seeing more of women being placed in those situations?
I don't have a quantitative answer for that. I can tell you qualitatively, I can tell you that some of the best organizations I work with are already run by women. In fact, one of the smartest broker leaders was just here today with us in Chicago. So I think what's interesting on the broker side is many of the ones we work with are the privately owned companies, and the next gen coming up many times are the daughters, not the sons of the founders of those companies, or even in some cases the fourth or fifth or sixth generation of those companies. So we're seeing more and more young, progressive, smart, kind but tough women running brokerages, which is great. And I would say already on the association side of the house, that's probably dominated by women, which is amazing. And MLSs are kind of a good mix between the two. Again, some of the most well-run organizations like Stellar MLS down in Florida, Mary Jo Cohen, proud to say we hired her 17 years ago there, and she's done an amazing job.
She's incredible.
Anne-Marie DeCatz in North Carolina. There's many very strong women. So I don't think we have any of the stereotyping anymore in terms of who can run a company. It's who's smartest, who's best, who can operate well with customers, who can operate well with boards of directors, who's got the strategic skills and execution ability to make it happen. I don't feel like there's any limitations at all in our industry, at least in North America, which is awesome.
I am grateful for that. So in closing, Marilyn, I know that Wave Group does a tremendous job, especially driving that positive change for clients, fostering growth, continuous improvement, literally a trusted resource for information. If somebody wanted more information about the Wave Group, where would they go?
They can just go to our website it's probably easier to spell as WAV Group, WAV Group.com, or they can reach out to me directly if they'd like at Marilyn, MARILYN at WAVGroup.com.
Because I know that this is going to be circulated all over the globe, and I want to be sure that the spotlight and the showcasing is for you. And I would say I'm so excited about physically seeing you after I don't know how many years in Milan.
Me too.
If you're interested in being a part of a global movement, the second of its kind, go to mlsforum.org and check it out. I'm Terri Murphy for the Data Advocate. Thank you, Miss Marilyn, for joining us. I know you're busy and you're right across the street. How fun. Join us for an update, because we'll be doing interviews in Milan. Thanks for joining us.
Wonderful. I'm looking forward to see you and everyone else. Thank you so much.